It's Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Welcome to episode
114
of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Piehler. In this edition of the Postcast, embezzlement charges for the former president of the Alameda Gators. A thief on Park Street doesn't get too far. The city is once again looking at slow streets. A couple of Bay Area business closures might affect you here on Alameda. Foz could use some help walking dogs. The Post needs your help in hiring a managing editor. And we say goodbye to one of the custodians of Alameda history. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story. On Wednesday, District Attorney Pamela Price charged former Alameda Gators president Sarah Lynn New with 3 counts of felony embezzlement. The charges stem from incidents in April when New is alleged to have withdrawn thousands of dollars from the nonprofit's account for purposes not related to Gators business. Reports have placed that amount at in excess of $50,000. New, who became president of the organization last September, was arrested on July 2nd. As reported by KGO-TV, she was booked into Santa Rita Jail and released on $30,000 bail. If convicted on all 3 charges, New could face 9 years in prison. As you might imagine, $50,000 is a very large amount of money for a nonprofit youth swim club. If you would like to donate to help the Gators, you can find a donation link on their website, alamedagators.org. I would like to point out one aspect of this case that was first pointed out by the editors at KGO. Please be aware that the woman charged in this case is Sarah Lynn New. There is another Sarah New in Alameda with the middle name Rose, who is not connected to this case in any way. For details on the charges handed down by the DA's office, see the article at alamedapost.com/news. Early Tuesday morning, Alameda police officers received a glass break notification from a business in the 1300 block of Park Street. At the same time, they also received a call of a suspicious person in the same area. Responding officers encountered an individual in the 1200 block of Park attempting to pry open a safe. The individual had allegedly attempted to break into another business previously, but was deterred by the alarm system. Also stolen from the business, electronic devices and tools. Officers arrested the suspect and were able to return the safe and other items to the business. The would-be burglar was charged with multiple offenses. For details on the arrest and some burglary prevention tips from APD, head to alamedapost.com/news. Alameda's pandemic-inspired slow streets are probably one of the most surefire argument starters on the island. These soft street closures allowed residents to continue to drive for a very short distance on the streets where they live, while barricades stopped other through traffic and created a safe space for the community to walk, run, bike, and scooter. Some folks love them, others can't stand them. Well, that may be changing soon. The city of Alameda is looking to convert many of the current slow streets to neighborhood greenways. What's a neighborhood greenway? It's a street designed to give priority to people walking and cycling and to allow cyclists and motorists to safely share the road on low-volume, low-speed local streets. What's involved? For starters, those familiar sawhorse barriers would be gone for good. Road-wise, things like speed humps, speed tables, neighborhood traffic circles, added curves known as chicanes, and a speed limit reduction to 20 miles per hour, some turn restrictions, and more. Crossings would also be modified with high visibility and raised crosswalks, flashing beacons, curb extensions, also known as bulb outs, and technology such as pedestrian hybrid beacons. Pacific Avenue, San Jose, and Morton would be among the first streets to be converted to greenways. As of now, there is no plan for Santa Clara to be converted. With fundamental changes like this, the city is looking for your input. You can start by taking an online survey, which includes pictures of what many of these modifications look like. There will be a Transportation Commission meeting on August 28th, both in person and on Zoom. The City Council will be addressing the issue on September 17th. For details, including links to the survey and the active transportation plan, see alamedapost.com/features. The next couple of items are not specifically from Alameda, but just might affect those of us in Alameda. First up, are you a fan of Big Hunk, Abba Zaba, or Rocky Road candy bars? Get ready for them to taste a little less fresh. Those local favorites have been made by Annabelle Candy Company in Hayward for decades. Annabelle's has announced they are permanently closing the Bay Area facility in September. Annabelle's has been in business since 1950. The closure will result in the loss of about 43 jobs. According to Annabelle's, the various candy bars will continue to be manufactured, but production will move to their parent firm, Promise Confections, which is located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you want a locally made Abba Zaba or Rocky Road, might want to head to your local convenience store now. Word is getting around. When I last checked the Annabelle's website, they had already sold out of the 24-bar cases of the original flavor of the Rocky Road bar. Another business closure that could affect the way you get around. Even if you've never used the service, you're no doubt familiar with AAA's car-sharing rental service Gig Car and their recognizable black Priuses and Chevy Bolts with blue lettering. Started in 2017 in Berkeley and Oakland, the app-based service eventually expanded to Albany, Alameda, Emeryville, Sacramento, San Francisco, and Seattle. Well, as of December 27th, Gig will be no more. The service had already pulled out of Sacramento in early 2023. In statements emailed to users and to media outlets, Gig said they would be gradually phasing out the service, so expect fewer available vehicles. If you've relied on Gig Car to fill the holes in your transportation needs, time to start making other plans. Fortunately, Alameda is a fairly walkable city, and if you like walking and offering a helping hand, Friends of the Alameda Animal Shelter has the perfect opportunity. As I reported last July in episode 62, Foz is always in need of folks to take their dogs for a walk. Recently, they put out another call for folks to take a stroll with their pooches. It's pretty easy. Just show up Tuesday through Sunday between 11 and 2, get matched with a dog, and head out to get some exercise for the both of you. I've done it myself. It's super rewarding. Each dog has a different personality, and the time outside does them a world of good. So head over to Fortman Way and prepare to meet some new furry friends. Here at the Post, we could use your help as well. As we've grown, so has the need for a dedicated managing editor to manage daily operations. We've recently received grants to help us fund this position, but are in need of additional monies that will allow us to find the right person for the job. Our goal is to raise $10,000 by the end of August. The good news, we're already about a third of the way there. When you're on our website, look for the thermometer and click through to make a tax-deductible donation that will allow us to build on the great work that has been done as we continue in our journey to provide local news coverage that matters for Alameda. From Fortman to Del Monte, Alameda's North Shore has an incredible history all the way back to 1893 when square riggers brought their cargo of Alaska-caught salmon to the newly formed Alaska Packers Association. In 1905, they introduced the successful Argo canned salmon brand. If you look around eBay, you can still find copies of their 1905 cookbook. Dennis Evanowski's latest article takes a detailed look back at the Alaska Packers in part one of his article, Packing Companies Shaped Alameda's North Shore. Believe it or not, two of the sailing vessels from those early days still survive, one in San Diego and the other in San Francisco. Dennis follows the path that eventually led to Del Monte, Fortman Marina, and more. Look for his article at alamedapost.com/history. The article is the perfect introduction for our first walking history tour this month. Northern Waterfront, Marina Cove Waterfront Park to Shoreline Park. The tour is available this Saturday, August 3rd, or Sunday, August 11th. Meet at Marina Cove Waterfront Park at Clement and Stanton at 10 a.m. For tickets and reservations, head to alamedapost.com/tours. Alameda recently said goodbye to one of the keepers of our history, George Gunn, longtime curator of the Alameda Museum and the man behind so many of Alameda's street names, especially on Bay Farm Island. I have friends who live on Parfait Lane. It was George who brought us that name in honor of early settler Peter Parfait. George also wrote two books that our own Dennis Evanowski utilizes to this day. Buildings of the Edwardian Period, City of Alameda, 1905 to December 31st, 1909, and Documentation of Victorian and Post-Victorian Residential and Commercial Buildings, City of Alameda, 1854 to 1904. Read Dennis Evanowski's heartfelt tribute to his friend George at alamedapost.com/news. alamedapost.com/events, so much to choose from with our expanded offerings. Friday night, the unique perspectives of Bay Area airborne traffic reporters at the California Historical Radio Society, 6 p.m. at 2152 Central. Among the speakers, Katie Lever O'Leary, who covered the 1989 earthquake from the KGO helicopter. Saturday, Coffins and Cars at the Greer Family Mortuary at 8 a.m. Farmers Market from 9 until 1. Joyce Mercado signs her new book, Save the Planet in Your Spare Time, at Books Inc., starting at 3:30. Saturday night, Commodore Cruise Lines presents a 4-hour cruise featuring the music of Prince in honor of the 40th anniversary of Purple Rain. Cruise also runs on Sunday. Sunday brings the Alameda Point Antiques Fair, Together in Motion Festival at Radium Runway, and Pour Your Heart Out, the benefit for youth arts at Rhythmix Cultural Works. Many, many more events and details at alamedapost.com/events. Thanks for your support of local news for Alameda. Give a tax-deductible donation at alamedapost.com/memberships. Find us on all the usual social media channels, as well as our own subreddit, and subscribe to us on Apple News. Play the Postcast wherever you get your podcasts, or simply tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. I'm Scott Piehler, back next Friday with episode 115 of the Alameda Postcast.